Yes, I'm Gonul Daniels. I'm a mother of twins. I've been a school governor at Ashmole School for 10 years. I've had a full career in information technology, and I currently lead a campaign for primary school provision to increase it, because in this area that I live in, Box Lane area, there isn't enough school places so that local children can go to local schools.
Lovely, thank you. You've partly answered this, but what led you to set up Sweat?
Okay, well, so the group that I lead is called Sweat. Now, we could have been Sweet, but we decided on Sweat because it's quirky, and it stands for South West Enfield Action Team. We could have been South West Enfield Education Team, and then we would have been Sweet, but we decided to be Sweat, sweating for our children, because we really want the places for our children to go to local schools. So there's a number of reasons why I set it up. One was because I've got twins, and I soon realised when I had them that they wouldn't be able to go to their closest primary school. Because it's a popular school, it's an Ofsted one, what you do is you get parents who are prepared to stretch the admission system, let's say, so they'll rent accommodations on top of the school, which means that genuine residents of the area won't be able to get their children in, because these short-term lets, people take up the places with that. And I wasn't the only parent in this position. What I found out was that through the Fox Lane Residents Association, of which I'm a committee member, that a number of parents were complaining about the same thing. So we decided to have a meeting. Originally, this was a year ago in 2013, and we invited our local MP David Burrows. We invited the Cabinet Member for Enfield Council for Education, Councillor Aifa Orhan, and we invited council officers who actually deal with the administration of education. And we had a meeting set up locally, and we didn't know how many parents would attend. We didn't know whether it'd be a handful, whether it'd be overtaken by all the panel of which we had. And it was very well attended. There were about 50 or 60 people in the audience, and the meeting was very, very heated. Parents feel so passionately about this issue because all of us want to get our children into a good school. For me, I believe education is everything. It is the most important thing that you can give your child, is a good education. Give them a good education, they'll grow up to be good for the community and contribute back. If you don't have a good education, you haven't got the tools to be good for the community. That's what I believe anyway.
Thank you. Could you describe your average Sweat member?
So in Sweat, I would say all of us are parents, but I have grandparents, because they also feel quite passionately about it, that they see that their children are having the same issues as us. So the average Sweat member is a parent. I would say very concerned about their community. They want to live in this nice area, but feel that we're being let down and that we're not able to stay in this community because we haven't got the schools.
That's lovely, thank you. Now, you've set up Sweat and it's become quite active. We're wondering, which organisations and who have you been able to meet and negotiate with?
Okay, so Enfield Council, they have a stakeholder management person, and so we meet with them, and we've actually had a meeting with the director for Children's Services, also the head of admissions, and other council officers. And we've met with them and discussed our problems, and I did feel that we were making headway and we were having our questions answered. Indeed, we've been to meetings at the council where reports that have gone to committee have expressed that they will be helping this area. However, at this stage, we're still being let down by Enfield. We are no different since last year. So we've had promises of various things happening, and we're very disappointed to see that 1 year on from Sweat being started up, that actually Enfield have not expanded Walker School, have not created a new 2 form entry that's due to start in September this year. So really in this area they've done nothing to help us. So although we've had meetings with them, they haven't come to anything yet. That doesn't mean that it won't come to something. I still think, things may happen. I've been a governor at Ashmole School for 10 years, and Ashmole School have proposed a new primary school for 60 children, and one of the things that we're looking at is that if we were to be successful in our bid for a new school, is that the possibility of setting up a priority zone in the Fox Lane area, because this is where there is a real need that children cannot get into their local schools. So the submission has gone in, and I was part of the team from Ashmole that went to the Department for Education and was interviewed by them. Unfortunately, because of the local elections, we won't find out whether our bid was successful until after the elections. So, very excited about that. Ashmole is an outstanding school. So if they get a primary school, and all of our group has supported that as well. So we've had the parental support that's needed to let that proposal go forward.
That's really exciting, because if they did give the priority to the Fox Lane area, it would be wonderful for the area, because just the other side of Ashmole there are quite a few primary schools, aren't there? So it would work for everybody, I would imagine. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, what I see is in this area, so the closest schools are Ashmole and Hazelwood and Walker, but we can't get our children into those schools, so we can't get into our local schools. But I see that that's going to degenerate this area if we don't do something about that, because what will happen is that you're no longer making this area appeal to families. You're only making it to appeal to people who haven't got children. So then you'll have these lovely houses, Edwardian houses, converted into flats for single people or for couples.
So you've partly answered this as well, the current outcome. So we don't know what's going to happen until after the 22nd of May.
So after the election, we should find out about Ashmole, and I can't see why. I would have thought it would be something the government, Department for Education would want, because Ashmole is an outstanding secondary school with an established reputation. So I can't imagine why they wouldn't want it to happen. But as I say, Enfield, we feel very let down by Enfield at the moment, because promises of a new 2 form entry haven't realised. So parents who are sending their children to school this September, who were promised a new school in the area, haven't got that. And the expansion of Walker, again, that was something that was promised, and that hasn't happened either. So parents in this area are very disappointed with the council.
Because there were 2 sites mooted, weren't there? There was the Groveland site, and that was very unfortunate that people were against that, which I didn't understand. And the Minchendon site, which is very underused, hardly
right.
touched.
Enfield Council told us, and they set an expectation by telling us this. If they hadn't have told us, if they hadn't gone to report, the report hadn't gone to Cabinet, then we wouldn't have expected it. But because it was actually in a report that went to Cabinet saying that a 2 form entry would have opened in this area this year, the expectation's been set. And they also informed us as well. I can't remember, but it was only a couple of months ago that a temporary location was set. That's where they would open this 2 form entry. They would let parents know when they found out which schools they got into this year, and they've let us down. They've given us information, and which hasn't turned out to be true.
Because that was in the local paper.
That's right, yeah, and. It was in the local paper because Enfield Council set this expectation, and also this year they've said that over 80% have got their first choice of school. Well, I would say that in our area no one gets their first choice of school unless they go to a faith school and not a community school. Genuine residents, so people in my group who have applied for places this year, did not get their first choice. And the Department for Education says we should have a good choice of schools. And we don't have a choice of schools. You put 6 choices down, but realistically, I don't think we're asking for anything outrageous in saying, I'd like my child to go to the closest school. I'd like my child to be able to walk to school. I'd like my child to be able to socialise with neighbours' children after school. That's the sort of expectation that parents, well, I don't think it's a high expectation, it's just something, we want.
So, of a straw poll of your committee members, so has anybody got a local school?
So one of my members for this year has got a faith school, so that was his second choice. Another of my members has got Highfield School, which was her second choice, but it's over a mile away from her home. Her closest school is 0.3, just over 0.3 of a mile, which is Walker, and she can't get into that Walker. I've had a number of parents contact me since the announcements were made to join my group. Become more vocal about the disappointment and to get something done about it in the area.
That's astonishing. 0.3 miles and can't get in.
That's right. Well, that was part of the reason we started this group. Was one of the ladies who got in touch with me lived 0.2 from Walker School, and her son did not get in. And that was, 90-second walk to the school, and she couldn't get her child into that school. So that was one of the key reasons that we just think that, it's outrageous. We shouldn't be allow planning where there aren't enough school places for the children.
So, finally, what do you hope to achieve for the future? What's the future of Sweat?
So we've got a number of objectives, and these were sort of set a year ago when we first set up. So one was to campaign for the expansion of Walker School, and we let that slide in because there were promises of other things happening in the area. So we didn't pursue it too much. We pursued it, but we focused on other areas to try and get things done quickly. So we're still pursuing the expansion of Walker School. We're supporting Ashmole in their setup of a new free school. And we're going to continue pursuing the council to get the new 2 form entry set up and for a school in Grovelands. As far as I can see, Enfield Council have taken no action in a year, and their parents do feel very strongly about it. We have been a pressure group, we have been very vocal, but they have still, we've got nothing to show for it at the moment. So we're going to continue and just put as much pressure on the Enfield Council as we can, and if we're successful at Ashmole, again we'll be supporting that.
That's good, and I imagine in the future you'll be doing the same thing for secondary school places.
That's right. So the increase in primary school provision, it actually starts, the Office for the ONS said that there were 256,000 additional primary school places required this September, and that's a national figure, but 37% is required in London. And obviously those primary school children are all going to go on to secondary school, so in 7 years' time there's going to be a need for increased secondary school provision. Now I do know as a governor at Ashmole that if they get the free school in the future, they may look to expanding the secondary school. So again, that's the closest school to us at the moment. But I would say Enfield actually needs to create a new secondary school.
That's lovely. Thank you very much, Gonul.
Thank you.